My place today against this government and against one of their latest tax and spend schemes, Bill 91, the Waste Reduction Act. Stewardship of the environment is a very important concern of government. If we are not responsible and balanced stewards of our environment, our land, our resources and energy, our air, our water, we as a society become unsustainable. We will not do well if we don't make the right choices. Dealing with our waste appropriately is a major part of how we treat our environment. Government has a core duty to ensure the environment is healthy for future generations. Our quality of life is directly linked to our environment. Similarly, the quality of our environment is directly linked to the quality of our government. Ontario is a beautiful, bountiful place, hardly matched in the world for its quality of life and opportunity. I wish I could be as complimentary regarding its current government that has been in power for 10 years now. Ostensibly, Bill 91 is about stewardship of the environment, using our resources better by recognizing the value in discarded materials and waste products so they don't end up in a hole in the ground. Unfortunately, that is a fiction. Bill 91 does nothing of the sort. It only perpetuates this Liberal government's abysmal record on this important issue. Bill 91 provides a way to trick the public, further distort our free market, and to take advantage of taxing captive consumers and businesses. This bill is about diversion, but not of waste from landfill. It's about diverting attention from the government's record and its failure on waste diversion in Ontario. One of the things that I think is important to add in this conversation is that diversion has to include a variety of methods. Some speakers have spoken about the importance of incineration, and I know that energy from waste is not a new concept. People in this province were bringing it forward at least 20, almost 30 years ago, and looking around the world and taking the best technology of the time, there was a great deal of information and opportunity in terms of the expertise that was right here in Southern Ontario on providing opportunities from deriving energy from waste. And there have been projects around the world. I know certainly in Prince Edward Island, they have worked for many, many decades using the energy from waste. And one of the previous speakers also mentioned the Durham example. I should just editorially say that it's also with York Region and Durham came to an agreement several years ago, and we're seeing the fruition of that agreement with the incineration going to be conducted in Durham. Before I go on, I would like to say congratulations to my caucus colleague, the member for Kitchener-Conestoga, who's the PC critic for the Ministry of the Environment, for his work on this file. His ability to discuss solutions for environmental problems with all stakeholders and get past the roadblocks to build a plan has certainly impressed me, as does his faith in the free market. Government must get out of the way most of the time, and he understands that. On the other hand, it's really too bad that the Minister of Environment does not get it. As seen in Bill 91 and in Bill 6 for that matter, he has failed to come forward with legislation that matters. The sheen and the sell of the bill seems to matter, but when one reads the substance for the bill for substance, it never materialized. Earlier, I referred to the Liberals' dismal record on increasing waste diversion. This government has made no progress on increasing the rate of waste diverted from landfill. Today's overall diversion rate in Ontario is 23%, whereas the goal since 2008 has been 60%. Only 1/4 of garbage does not go into landfill. The other 3/4 does. And that's not including industrial, commercial, and institutional, or ICI waste, which makes up 60% of the waste in the province. And when you look at those figures, it's easy to sort of gloss over them until you stop and think about what it means to have a diversion rate of 23% when the goal is 60. And the fact that it doesn't include the industrial, commercial, and institutional. I know in my case, in my own constituency office, I keep wanting to have a blue box and be able to separate what would be non-blue box material. And of course, my staff keep reminding me, no, we're in a commercial setting, and that doesn't exist. And it just seems so frustrating that at this point in time, when obviously the greater amount of waste comes from ICI, that we have fallen behind, in fact, just failed to provide this. For the last 5 years, the government has been focused on eco-taxes to recover the cost of recycling certain materials. New taxes were put on tires, electronics, and household hazardous materials, which together only make up 3% of the waste stream in Ontario. And one of the problems with doing something like that is that people are willing to pay a fee if they think it's reasonable, if they think it's fair. And as soon as it appears to be gouging or it appears to be unfair, then they're going to choose ways to avoid, I stress avoid, the effect of that tax. They're going to look for ways to avoid it. That's legal as opposed to evade. But you know, I think in terms of the announcement last year about tires, and what was the immediate reaction of in my community where tractor tires, for instance, were going to fall under this. The reaction of people was, well, I'll find another place. And of course, it's that kind of, I realize there changes were made, I'm not suggesting they weren't, but it's a demonstration of being able to accurately gauge what's fair, what's reasonable, what will people be able to manage. And this was a demonstration of one that people couldn't manage. People have mentioned the tractor tire from $92 to over $800. And as I started to say in my neighborhood, that immediately brought a response from those potential purchasers. They would all go to Quebec. They would find a way to bring tires back. And that just destroys the whole idea, because now those tires ultimately will end up having to be recycled through an Ontario program that, of course, wasn't paid for at the point of purchase. So we have a lot of issues with regard to the questions that are raised by Bill 91. And it seems to me that this bill leaves aside trying to answer some of the very big questions that will remain in place. We see, for instance, that waste diversion in Ontario is proposed to be now called Waste Reduction Authority. Well, you know, that reminds me of the joke about the changing the deck chairs on the Titanic. It has nothing to give us confidence. The fact that the bill proposes a new waste czar registrar, deputies, inspectors, waste enforcement officers, and tribunal members, all of this suggests that we're not really looking at anything that is going to be in the long-term best interests. Ontario used to be a leader in the world for its waste diversion programs, just as Ontario used to be an economic leader among the provinces of Canada. And so we look at Bill 91 and see that the opportunity is a lost one in Bill 91. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.